ITZY's Dalla Dalla had many heads turning at its arrival in the K-pop scene in 2019. We can observe and better understand how the song came to be, as well as its effects in popular culture, using the ideas about the culture industry borrowed from the Frankfurt School of Thought. While at first the song seems to challenge the ideas presented about the culture industry, upon closer inspection, we can see that it instead plays into hegemonic ideas despite its mask of resistance. However, its value as a commodified cultural product can be evaluated further in its relation and importance to its listeners. The Frankfurt School of Thought is a collection of social theory and critical philosophy associated with various German scholars who contributed to the Institute for Social Research at Goethe University Frankfurt from the years 1918 to 1933. Despite disparate views on mass media and mainstream popular culture, the Frankfurt School was united over their belief that cultural phenomena was more than just the result of the interests of the ruling class. The Frankfurt School also believed that popular culture still held an important role as an avenue for social criticism and vehicle for social knowledge. However, due to capitalism's inherent need to increase profits, they have turned cultural products like art, music, and films into a commodity to be sold and consumed. Adorno and Horkheimer, the most prominent figures of the Frankfurt School, proposed the concept of the culture industry, where art became made solely to be profitable and therefore is swaying mass media into uniformity. This was the result of a burgeoning working class that demanded more digestible entertainment and eventually led to cultural products becoming a commodity. You can see this at play during South Korea's economic rise since the 1960s that granted more people with disposable income and therefore more chances to focus on themselves. Young people, in particular, had wealth that their parents and previous generations never had, thus leading them to become a separate market in themselves and a profitable audience to cater to. Adorno and Horkheimer explained that entertainment companies were not above sacrificing individuality and originality to be commercially successful. So, instead of attempting meaningful works of art, companies have resorted to tricking consumers into thinking they like popular music purely because they can recognize it. This is best exemplified in the South Korean music industry. South Korean pop music, also known as K-pop, is a genre characterized by its vibrant music videos, colorful fashion, catchy musicality, and perfectly synchronized dancing performances. It is also notorious for its homogeneous music, shallow lyrics, and an exploitative industry backing it up. K-pop's origins and historical context has not only allowed for constant homogeneity, but has also encouraged it. Uniformity has been a staple in the genre since its beginnings in the 1910s and has not left because it is such a winning formula. However, on February 10, 2019, South Korean girl group ITZY debuted with a digital single Dalla Dalla, alongside a music video released on the official YouTube channel of their company, JYP Entertainment. This song made waves within the K-pop community, as the music video reached over 14 million views within 24 hours, an achievement that was not surprising to fans familiar with the power of JYP Entertainment. There was plenty of buzz around ITZY's arrival, with expectations already up, as audiences wondered what JYP's new girl group would have to offer in an already saturated market such as the K-pop industry. Where the genre tends to lean on a safe, tried-and-true pop music formula, Dalla Dalla has surprised its eager fans with the unconventional song structure and musicality seldom seen within a genre as regurgitative as K-pop. Dalla means different in Korean, and so their hook signifies to new listeners that they plan to stand out among the others. Where K-pop songs are about romance, breakups, or parties, ITZY sings about confidence and challenging the status quo. K-pop has long been pressing heteronormative values into young impressionable girls by having romance and catching the attention of men as the primary focus of most girl groups. Dalla Dalla by ITZY therefore appears to be a deviation from this hegemony, where they instead preach messages about self-love and encourage confidence. However, this appearance of resistance is only surface level. The culture industry, which has been infected by capitalist practices, has been imbued with the need for competition and therefore thrives on diversity, or at least the semblance of it. Adorno and Horkheimer have pointed out that the industry makes variations of the same thing to create the illusion that consumers have choices and therefore have the freedom to consume whatever they want. Dalla Dalla by ITZY exemplifies the idea. Despite singing about being different from the others and wanting to break the mold, they still adhere to the fundamentals of K-pop. The girls wear flashy, fashionable costumes that elevate their image. They have synchronized dancing, complete with a hook choreography in the chorus that can be easily copied by its audience. Even the internal structure of the song itself plays into the conventions of the genre. Not only does Dalla Dalla have the classic catchy hook that gets stuck in the listener's head, it also has a section specifically placed for a dance break and a trap post-chorus that has been trendy within the genre for many years. K-pop music companies sometimes allow a controlled amount of resistance and may include the constant and careful positioning of their artists to hint at elements of individualism. These implications of individualism can also be used to delude its listeners into believing that by liking and listening to this music, they too are resisting against the status quo, when in reality all they do is imitate their idols out of adoration. By doing so, they inadvertently end up following the initial mainstream culture they were trying to go against in the first place. We can see this at play when we observe the explosion of dance covers of Dalla Dalla on YouTube by fans, where they attempt to become like ITZY, even so far as obtaining the same costumes and the same styling they wear in the music video. The kind of resistance that this music promises is therefore undermined by its obedience to hegemony. Therefore, the opportunities for empowerment actually end up being very small. However, another way of looking at mass media and popular culture is how the mechanical reproduction that characterizes it has peeled away the mysticism that previously surrounded works of art. Here, we will borrow from the writings and theories of Walter Benjamin, another figure from the Frankfurt School. While Adorno and Horkheimer had scathingly criticized mass production, Walter Benjamin had a more positive outlook. Benjamin pointed out that where art and culture used to be tightly wrapped around ritual and religion, mass mechanical reproduction meant it did not have to depend on it. This can be seen in South Korean music. Before pop music was introduced, music was only employed for the entertainment of the monarchy and elites or for state rituals. This function held back the kind of music that could be created and obviously excluded the common people from the joys of experiencing music. However, the arrival of the culture industry meant that instead of having to rely and depend on religion and rituals to exist for works of art to exist, works of art are allowed to exist just because. Music videos can be seen as advertisements for the music, or at worst a crutch for the music itself, as if due to capitalism and the commodification of music, songs cannot be made to stand alone anymore. However, they can also be seen as having exhibition value in themselves as works of art, and can bring different kinds of images out into the world. Because these images are easily distributed and open to be scrutinized by larger audiences, they can learn and understand new ways of existing and learn more about the world in general. K-pop fans who are used to the typical formula of love songs and party anthems can now see the potential the genre has for other subject matter when they are exposed to Dalla Dalla. Many listeners can take comfort in the call for liberation that ITZY sounds out, no matter how generic the lyrics can be. Popular culture, therefore, becomes a space of freedom, where average people can act out their fantasies, and especially for those who live conservatively, music can become a venue for them to imagine themselves resisting dominant social conventions when they typically can't in their daily lives. In particular, girl groups like ITZY give young impressionable girls the idea that not only can they be confident and powerful as ITZY presents themselves to be, but that they have the potential to be subjects or objects of desire and adoration in the same way that ITZY is desired and adored by them. Mass media and mechanical reproduction has also left more room for individuals to align themselves with an idea just by indicating they consume a certain piece of media. At this point, ITZY has made a name for themselves, using their boisterous singles to promote their messages of confidence and boldness, so their fans likewise are assumed to believe what ITZY represents. Adorno argued that art must have an element of protest in it that goes against the teachings of dominant institutions. If Dalla Dalla can elicit any instance of protest against following the status quo for some listeners, and for many fans they do, then Dalla Dalla can be argued to be just as good as any kind of art, not only despite it stemming from the culture industry, but exactly because it stems from the culture industry. In this day and age, we can see the existence of two opposing uses for technologies regarding pop music production and distribution. One, as a force that homogenizes mainstream music, and two, as an opportunity for creativity and resistance. Since media culture can be used as a source for social knowledge, members of society can learn about existing in a society through media. A diversity and range of songs that resulted from the competition among musicians is welcomed, as it allows listeners the equipment to better navigate an increasingly complicated world. The existence of Dalla Dalla ultimately means that as a society, we have begun to realize the importance of not only loving yourself, but for other young girls to love themselves too. As more songs like Dalla Dalla, with deceptively bold and rebellious messages, continue to be released by music companies who only want to gain profit from the commodification of the image of resistance, the ideas of the Frankfurt School give us the tools to analyze its effects on mass media culture and its listeners. As Dalla Dalla has proved to be such a success, there is no reason why companies will not continue on this path. Therefore, these observations and analysis can help prepare us for further discussions on whatever K-pop decides to throw our way. Alright, that's all I have for now. Thank you so much for listening. I'm a big fan of ITZY, so this is definitely not the last video analyzing them and their music, so I hope you guys stick around for those in the future. Please feel free to subscribe if you'd like to hear more of my thoughts and opinions on random things. My social media links are in the description, as well as my Ko-fi page if you'd like to support my work. I also have my reference list in the description if you guys want to read up on all the things that I read to write this essay. I'll see you guys next week. Remember, keep your chin up, I've got your back.